Something interesting happened in the Kouri Richins trial this morning, and I'm going to tell you about it in just a moment. Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney, retired. This is a trial channel. No legal advice is given, and everything that I say pretty much is my opinion unless stated otherwise. The Kouri Richins case out of Utah centers on a wife accused of killing her husband, Eric Richins, in March of 2022 by allegedly giving him a fentanyl-laced drink, specifically a Moscow Mule. Prosecutors say the motive was financial, life insurance money, debt, and control of his estate, and they also allege an earlier poisoning attempt. After his death, Richins wrote a children's book about grief, then was later charged with aggravated murder and multiple fraud counts. She has pleaded not guilty, and the trial is now underway. Much of the evidence is already in, but additional witnesses seem to be focusing now on the financial motives. Something interesting happened in the Kouri Richins trial this morning. Defense counsel Kathy Nestor started to question Eric Richins' friend and business partner, Cody Wright, about the pain pill use back in high school. The moment that line of questioning came up, Judge Richard Mrazik sent the jury out of the courtroom so the lawyers could argue about whether that topic should even be allowed. Wright stepped out as well, then came back in so the judge could hear what his testimony would be before making a ruling. The defense argued the prosecutor had opened the door by asking whether anyone had ever said Eric used illicit drugs.
So the part that we're seeking to examine the witness, and we submit that the state has opened the door by asking the question, has anyone ever told you Eric used illicit drugs? And his answer was no. In this testimony at the preliminary, page 16 line, beginning at line 15, and were you aware that in high school Eric had an addiction to pain pills? Answer, I did know that he participated in pain pill taking for sure. Question, you did? Answer, yes. And do you know what his pill of choice was that he was addicted to back then? Answer, I believe in high school we called them Red Devils.
Is that where you want to stop?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not entirely sure that Mr. Wright is referring to illicit street drugs, quote unquote, there, but I also don't know the other way. Mr. Bloodworth, you'd be able to clarify that with him once it came in. I think I already ruled on a motion in limine that this issue would be admissible, correct?
No, Your Honor, it was the opposite.
Holy cow, the judge just forgot something. That's amazing. This guy has been so on the money all the time. He missed one little thing that happened 6 months, 7 months ago, and he didn't get the outcome of the ruling right. But luckily, Mr. Bloodworth was there to kind of fix that problem. The whole idea here that she opened the door, and so he got to ask another question, and it made her look bad, or her client look bad, I guess is a more appropriate way to say that. And now she wants to impeach him on stuff that's not, it's not a square fit to what she wants to do. And then you'll see why here in just a moment.
Well, that's
In the motion in limine, and we're scrambling in the back to get this now, the motion in limine briefing to you. But in the motion in limine, Mr. Wright clarified this testimony to say his awareness was from other people.
Oh, that's right.
Not from observing Eric Richins. So whatever he knows about Eric Richins' high school drug use, if any, is hearsay. Mr. Wright also clarified, it wasn't Mr. Wright that was clarified. Also, the state produced evidence that Red Devils, circa whatever it was, 2020-ish, was a reference to an over-the-counter cough suppressant that kids were taking in high school. So I think the defense's saying that that the state opened the door is unfounded.
May I respond, Your Honor?
One moment, I've got to read my ruling.
Yes, sir.
So the ruling was that I deferred ruling on the motion in limine until after the parties have an opportunity to voir dire witness Cody Wright or provide other evidence outside the presence of the jury to determine whether there is any non-hearsay route to the admissibility of the proposed evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. So here's what just happened.
Don't you love the way she says that? Like the judge wasn't sitting right there when all this happened? Let me tell you what happened in case you were napping when this went down. There are certain mannerisms that she has that comes off as so arrogant and demeaning that it's hard to get past. I mean, I want to like defense counsel in most cases because they do have a hard job. Wow, she's hard to like.
Mr. Bloodworth asked the question, has anyone ever told you that Eric used illicit drugs? I objected.
Drugs.
Did you catch that? The judge is pointing out that it wasn't illicit drugs, it was illicit street drugs. The distinction being that you can misuse something you can get from a pharmacy, right? You can glug down all the acetaminophen you want to. You can glug down all of the dime tap that you want to. Pseudoephedrine. I did it again. Pseudoephedrine, whatever it is, you can do that all day long. That's not an illicit street drug. Now, you start snorting cocaine or trying to sniff fentanyl or any of that stuff, well, now you've crossed a line. That's an illicit street drug. But she keeps conflating it as illicit drugs when there's clearly a distinction there that she's trying very hard to get the judge to ignore. But this judge is not going to fall for it. And I love that about him.
I objected to hearsay. The court ruled that I had opened the door and allowed him to elicit that hearsay evidence.
Yeah, in fairness, you're skipping the first step. You opened the door and crossed to this topic.
I just said that.
Right,
that
but I want to be clear.
Okay.
It's not just an allegation that you did. You did.
Okay.
Then Mr. Bloodworth went into it.
Okay, absolutely. I was trying to convey that. I'm sorry if I didn't do it correctly. I was not trying to skip any step. You ruled that I had opened the door. You allowed him to elicit what would typically be hearsay evidence because I had opened the door. Now it's in. Now this witness is sat on the stand. No one's ever told him that Eric used illicit drugs, and that is not true.
Illicit street drugs. Please be precise.
That's what these are. He's claiming...
We don't know one way or the other. Would you like an opportunity to voir dire Cody Wright about that, consistent with the court's motion in limine ruling from January?
I'm happy to voir dire him if it helps the court with your ruling. It is my position that at this point, I'm entitled to impeach him for making a statement in response to the state, elicited by the state, that no one's ever told him Eric used illicit street drugs. Here I have testimony that is contrary to that. I have a right to impeach him on that. I'll voir dire him on whatever you want, but it is my motion now that I be allowed to go into this because the state has put it there. They've put it out there. I have a right to impeach that he just testified falsely and inconsistently with what he said at the prelim. And it's very important, Your Honor.
Let me see if I can explain the legal basis for her argument here. Okay, that might be a trifle unfair, but basically, she elicited hearsay, and on the basis of curative admissibility, he allowed the prosecutor to go into it. And now, out of some misbegotten idea about curative admissibility as to what he just said, she wants to try to get in more hearsay evidence. You don't really fix hearsay evidence with more hearsay evidence because there's nobody there to say, so-and-so told me that, and we can call him to the stand. So I'm not really sure what she thinks she's doing here, but let's see what happens when the voir dire happens.
If he, in fact, said something impeachable, you have the right to impeach him.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm not sure that he did yet. Why don't we get to that point? Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, certainly we can voir dire him. I think if the court reads further down in the preliminary hearing transcript, counsel asks...
You know I don't have that ability, so if you could cite me to it.
Oh, do you not? I'm sorry.
No. I don't have control over what they're showing me.
I can email.
If there's a docket entry you want me to look at, I know that it's in the docket.
Sure, it's page 61 that I thought was on your screen. It's on my screen.
So
It is now, yeah.
So at the bottom of page 60, I guess we just read from the middle of page 60.
60, line 15 through 25.
Correct. If
Yeah.
the court keeps reading to the top of page 61, Cody Wright says he has no idea what red devils were.
He says prior to that he is very aware that Eric took pain pills in high school. He says that clear as day.
Why don't we just ask him what he knows?
We can, but
Oh, you don't want that. You want to just use this.
I want to use this, and I want to do it in front of the jury. I
But
don't
you
want to
want
give a
to. You don't want to
chance.
just put it in. You want to ask him questions about it, right?
No, I just want to. I want to impeach him with this document only.
You don't have any foundation that red devils are illicit street drugs, though. So you need that foundation
Pain
for
pills
this.
would be.
But that's not illicit street drugs, and that wasn't the question. This is an important difference. Nobody's asked this gentleman
Your Honor,
or shown that
If you buy pain pills,
please
I'm
don't
sorry.
speak over me so that you have a clean record.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
If there is an impeachable statement by this witness as to whether he's aware that Eric Richins took pain pills at any point in his life, this would be directly relevant to that. But we need a non-speculative foundation for the idea that red devils are illicit street drugs.
So the pain pills that they're talking about, if they are
Who's
taken,
they?
if that is being referred to in this prior statement, the
Red
pain
devils.
pills well, he says pain pills and then he says red devils.
Okay.
So my understanding, according to this, is that Mr. Wright doesn't know what red devils are, but that's what they called them in high school,
Seems accurate.
which is clearly saying these were not doctor prescribed, these are illicit drugs that he's using in high school. So
No, there's some distance between a nickname called red devils and illicit street drugs. And I don't know what the red devils he's referring to are, but it doesn't automatically mean they're illicit street drugs.
I love the fact that this judge keeps her focused and on point. She is like Ricochet Rabbit. She is all over the place with this. She can't seem to understand that you have to lay a foundation as to what red devils are. And I don't know about you, but when I go to Walmart, and now thanks to all the meth heads, I have to sign my life away to get a little bit of Sudafed. When I pop the little pills of Sudafed out of the little plastic case that they're in, they are red. So you can certainly see where someone might call them red devils, particularly since sometimes in certain people, not mentioning any names now, they bring out the absolute worst in their personality. And so you can understand that. He is absolutely right to demand that she lay the proper foundation. In this upcoming portion of the testimony, I'm going to cut several portions of it out because she just goes on and on and on, and you can't get her to sit down. I have this image of somebody in the gallery taking one of those canes with a long, curved handle, like they used in vaudeville to pull bad actors off the stage. That's my view of what I would like to be doing if I was in that courtroom right now. I'd be yelling, "Sit down and shut up!" But I don't think it'd do much good, and they'd probably throw me out of the courtroom if I did that. But she doesn't know how to let anything rest, and she can't ask a decent question. She keeps conflating drugs with illicit street drugs. Almost anything that is a pharmaceutical agent can be called a drug. That doesn't mean that it's something you are breaking the law to take. which apparently is lost on her.
Welcome back. So we want to just dig in a little bit to the question that you were asked on redirect. When Mr. Bloodworth asked you if anyone had ever told you that Eric used illicit drugs. And I believe he said illicit street drugs. Does that sound right? Or do you recall?
Did he say illicit street drugs? Is that what you're asking?
What was your understanding of the question that he asked you at the very end about whether you'd ever heard about Eric using drugs?
Illicit street drugs.
Right. What was your understanding of that question?
If anyone had ever told me about him using an illicit street drug.
Okay.
Now, I'm not in the drug world. I have no clue what most drugs are categorized as. So.
Did you talk to anyone outside in the hallway while you were waiting?
I did not.
Okay, just checking. Okay. So.
Just checking. This is my skeptical face.
At the preliminary hearing, we asked you some questions about whether you were aware that Eric used pain pills in high school. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And are you aware of that?
I was told that that had happened.
All right. And were you ever told about where he got those pain pills?
I have no idea where he got those pain pills from.
So when Mr. Bloodworth asked you earlier today if you were ever aware of Mr. Richins using prescription drugs, you said no.
Your Honor, that's not the question I asked.
Pause, Mr. Wright. If you would just object to foundation and restate the question for me.
Your Honor, objection foundation.
Let me ask you this way.
Sustained. Go ahead.
Do you...
Not to belabor a point here, but Advil is a pain pill, Tylenol is a pain pill, aspirin is a pain pill, naproxen sodium is a pain pill. You can get all of those without a prescription. You can get Voltaren, which is a cream that you rub on the places. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can use to relieve pain. She's asking about pain pills like oxycodone because she spent way too much time with her client.
Was it your understanding in high school when you had this knowledge that Mr. Richins was using these drugs illicitly? In other words, not with the prescription of a pharmacist?
I need you to be more precise in that question. Which drugs are you referring to?
The pain pills, sorry.
And if you would re-ask it, please.
Was it your understanding in high school when you knew about this that Mr. Richins was using his own prescription for pain pills or someone else's?
I learned about this later on in life, not in high school.
Okay, and what did you learn?
And I learned that he had taken pain pills in high school. That's what I had been told.
So to cut about another 15 minutes out of this video, because she is like a dog with a bone here. She just keeps going back to the same place, trying to get the same information, asking it differently, seeing if she can wheedle out of him some admission that, okay, I admit it, he was taking cocaine, whatever. That's not the whole point of cross-examination. The cross-examination is supposed to be aimed at getting the information. And she's even doing it wrong. First of all, what she ought to be asking him is, you knew that he was taking pain pills, correct? And you knew that he was taking these Red Devils, right? Yes. But you don't know what the Red Devils are? Oh, I thought they were Sudafed. Okay, I've just saved you about 20 minutes of your life that you would otherwise be wasted.
Eric popped pills in high school, is what I've been told.
Beyond high school, do you have any knowledge if he popped pills?
I don't have any sure knowledge that he popped pills after high school.
Not sure knowledge, but if people told you that?
I have knowledge that he took THC gummies.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure.
And here's the judge's ruling on all of this.
Therefore, bringing in the preliminary hearing transcript or any further questioning on this, the preliminary hearing transcript or any further questioning on this is inadmissible.
All right. The case has to be tried based upon admissible evidence. And on both sides of the V, there are pieces of evidence that either the state or the defense has sought to admit that the court has ruled are not admissible. I'm required to apply the rules of evidence. We instruct the jury that the rules of evidence have developed over hundreds of years to make sure that trials are tried in a fair and impartial way. This issue developed in a way where defense counsel asked a question that elicited hearsay testimony regarding what Mr. Wright had heard about Mr. Richins' prior drug use generally. Whether or not that's what the defendant intended, that's what happened. So then, on redirect, the state asked two very specific questions to characterize that volunteering of hearsay by Mr. Wright. Whether they heard that Mr. Richins had used THC products, and whether he had ever heard that Mr. Wright used illicit street drugs. Nothing in his prior preliminary hearing testimony or during his voir dire outside the presence of the jury on the stand is admissible evidence contrary to his sworn testimony on the stand in front of the jury. His prior reference to Red Devils, he's now clarified as Sudafed, which is not pain pills to begin with. Moreover, he doesn't have any admissible testimony that Eric Richins used illicit drugs of any kind. This is hearsay. It is speculation. It's not admissible.
Your Honor, may I just make a record?
Of course.
Let me stop you right there, Kathy. You're going to go on for about the next 20 minutes making a record. And again, I think we can summarize you making that record in this manner. You get the picture. The judge made the right ruling for the right reasons, and it's really all you need to know. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today, and especially if you have subscribed. That means a lot to me. If you have the opportunity today, try to do just one kind thing to help somebody else. Doesn't have to be a big thing. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke, get them a cup of coffee, hold open a door for somebody struggling with a package, or even better, overtip your waitress or waiter if you eat out. Those kinds of things make their day brighter, and you may find yourself noticing other people when they do kind things for you. That would be a way to help make the world a better place, because after all, isn't that what we're all after? I'm going to drop my email address up here in the event you have a comment or some suggestions to make. I'd appreciate it if you'd send them to me. Always enjoy getting something that says video request because, again, that's how I keep making videos. Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing up in the little boxes right up there.